Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Today's conversation is very special. We've got a gentleman here with us sharing his story about how he's built a very successful company right here in Texas. I hope you enjoy the conversation. If you do, hit the like and subscribe button. Stay tuned for more videos. So for those that are watching who don't know you, Kendall Nicholas, we refer to you as Kenny, by the way.
Yes. Although it's technically Michael Kendall Corbin Nicholas.
Michael Kendall Corbin Nicholas. Okay.
Yeah, but I go by Kendall Nicholas. Keep it simple.
You're a father.
I am.
You're a husband.
Mm-hmm.
You're an entrepreneur. You're a Army veteran. And on top of all that, you're just a genuine good dude that I've had the pleasure to become friends with. And you're the owner of CGI Systems Group in Denton, Texas.
Yep.
Born in 1981 in St. Croix. Your parents from St. Vincent, St. Lucia.
Mm-hmm.
And you lived there for how long?
In St. Croix?
Mm-hmm.
Almost not at all.
Okay.
By the time, maybe a year, by the time I was born, my parents were already starting the migration process. And because, I'm the youngest, so I had my two older sisters. And so they were already in St. Croix. My parents were already working to come to the U.S. by the time I was born. So I wasn't there very long at all.
Okay, so you were still a baby
I was
when you
still a
moved
baby.
here.
Yeah, all my memories are of Corpus Christi, Texas.
Okay.
Yeah, which is where I was raised.
So that was your childhood in Corpus Christi.
Mm-hmm.
What's it like growing up down there? I'm originally from Winston-Salem, North Carolina, so
Okay.
I'm not a Texas native, although we both live here now.
Gotcha. Yeah, Corpus Christi is has its pluses and minuses. It's one of those places that's not too big and not too small. It's like big enough to where you always know somebody or somebody who knows somebody. And so, safe place at the time, I think. Probably decent place to raise your kids, at least. When you're an immigrant family, you always have like an anchor family that people come to. So my dad's good friend, who I call Uncle Keith, he was like the anchor family. So when my parents moved from St. Croix to here, they stayed with my Uncle Keith so they could get on their feet. But it has like a little island community in Corpus Christi of all places. I don't know how so many West Indians and Jamaicans and Barbadians ended up in Corpus Christi. I think maybe because of refineries or something and the oil, because St. Croix was, really big on oil at one time. They had like the Hess oil refineries down there.
I didn't know that.
And yeah, and then I guess when they were closing down and going through their troubles, a lot of those workers moved to Texas. So I think that's how they ended up in Corpus Christi. But
So, one, I've never visited Corpus Christi.
Okay.
And two, I've never visited St. Croix like you and I had talked about. And I don't know much about it.
okay. Yeah. Home of Selena. That was a big thing.
Oh, Corpus Christi.
Yeah. Not St. Croix.
Yeah. Okay. I was like, wait, I thought she was from Texas.
Yeah. From Corpus Christi, Texas. Home of Selena. And then after Selena came like Jennifer Pena and all those other little artists. Jennifer Pena I went to school with from like elementary to middle school. You might not know her, but she was like a big star after Selena as well. She's like an actress and singer too.
I'm not familiar with her, but
Yeah.
that's cool.
So, but yeah, Selena was big in Corpus. That was like everything. Not in my circle because I wasn't necessarily listening to that kind of music, but yeah,
Sure.
You see Selena everywhere out there.
Now, what was the timeline? So you moved to the US when you were really, really little.
Mhm.
How long did you live in Corpus?
I lived in Corpus up until I was 14, turning to 15. I lived in St. Lucia for a year. My parents thought I needed discipline. I was a little hellion. I was doing the most. So they sent me to St. Lucia for a year to get discipline. So I went to school down there for a year. And when I got to St. Lucia, they actually put me in I was like in 8th grade, something like that. And they put me in 3rd grade. Because the difference.
You were in 8th grade and they put you in 3rd?
Yeah. Because the 3rd graders up there are learning what the 8th graders here are learning, basically.
Wow.
So like
they're ahead.
Yeah, the systems are different. Their education system is different out there.
Well, that doesn't. And again, I'm a proud American, but it doesn't
Absolutely.
surprise me that other people's education systems are ahead of ours.
Yeah, has its pluses and minuses. Like, for example, in St. Lucia, you'll find people that have no formal education because they can't afford to send their kids to school. But here, it's one of those, it's kind of like the education here, it's a little bit lower, but everybody has a base education.
Accessible to everyone.
Yeah.
Right.
But over there, it might be a little bit higher, but you also have people who aren't formally educated over there. You know, they might just grow up and work with their parents or, you know, go straight to the shop because their parents don't send them to school. Now, it might have changed, but back in the day, that's kind of how it was. Because you got to buy your school uniforms. All the schools have uniforms, and it's not issued to you. So, yeah, it costs.
Did the year living over there help?
It did. The year living over there, like, probably changed my entire trajectory. Because when I was in school here, I was learning, but I wasn't, like, really learning formally. But when I got over there, one of the things they teach you is, like, how to learn. Like, you know, it's a little bit more, it's more strict. So I can't get away with half the stuff I was getting away with here. Like, there's just, they're on top of you. You can't.
Yeah. Some schools here you could disappear in.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was doing.
You can go. My parents might go 3 or 4 weeks and they haven't even checked in.
My dad would drop me off to the middle school and I'd get out the car. And then when he drives off, I'd walk back home because my parents are at work.
Right. So he's on the way thinking that you're walking to class and you're back at the house.
Yeah, you can't do that over there. So
you're born in 81. This was what, mid-90s?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I was about 15. So,
mid-90s, South Texas.
Yeah, so they put me in like the 3rd grade over there. So I'm like this.
Well,
sorry.
St. Lucia.
Yes.
At the moment, right? For that year.
Correct.
Okay, so they put you in the 3rd grade.
They put me in the 3rd grade. My Aunt Donna, she's a principal at the high school. Over there, they call it secondary school. And she would tutor me in between. And eventually I was able to take the test again. And then I got placed, I actually went ahead. So I got placed in what the equivalent of 9th grade now.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, so it's helping. You're making progress and you're moving in the right direction at least.
Correct.
Instead of it sounded like you were maybe a little rough around the edges as a teenager, which is not uncommon.
Facts.
You know?
Yeah.
Not many 14, 15-year-old boys have got life figured out. Right?
Sure.
I was rough around the edges too. So what was it, the structure that changed that you feel was most important?
I think over there you mature a little bit faster. So like, you know, my uncle, he has a shop. I was working behind the bar, serving alcohol, drinks. You know, when me and my uncle went out, they're handing you beers. You know, you're hanging out with the guys. You're just maturing at a different rate down there.
So you start assuming sort of adult responsibilities at a younger age naturally.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. So you're just kind of treated different at 15 over there. You know, it's not necessarily being treated as a kid like you are, you know, in the States. So between that and the school system, a lot of the projects and things you do there is there's a lot of critical thinking involved. It's not just here's the lesson, take a test on that lesson. Okay, next lesson.
Hope you pass.
Yeah.
Why didn't you pass?
Exactly. It's more teaching involved. So that's why I said, like, when I was down there, I learned how to learn, which was invaluable because at that point, I felt like if I needed to know anything, I could figure it out, which from that point on, I could. So, yeah, that was cool, you know.
Let me ask a question. Let's assume you had a kid, a newborn today.
Yeah.
5 years from now, would you prefer that they go to a school here in the U.S. or in St. Lucia?
St. Lucia, for
Really?
sure. Yeah, I tried. My wife did not want to.
Oh, you were wanting to see your kids
I was
there.
like, hey, let's send them to the islands. My aunt will take care of it. My wife is like, I'm not sending my babies to some other country. I don't know how they're gonna treat them. Yeah. And you said because you know in the St. Lucian schools they'll beat you.
So they can discipline.
Yeah, they could discipline.
Physical discipline.
Yeah, absolutely. So
they paddle you or what?
Yeah.
Really?
They will paddle you. And so it was like, I'm not subjecting my children to that, and it was rough, but it was fun, thinking back on it. Obviously when I was a kid, I was just like, oh man, I want to go back to America. This sucks, but you got to wake up, 5:00 in the morning, you got to polish your shoes, you got to press your uniform, got to get dressed, eat breakfast. At the time, we didn't have running water in the house.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd have to grab a bucket and go down the hill. There's like a little shop that has a spigot. I'd fill up that bucket with water, walk back up the hill, heat up some of that water in a kettle, pour the hot water in the kettle into the bucket of water so I could take a warm bath, get a cup, and take a bath. And all of that stuff just to prep for school.
So you're ready to come back to the U.S.
Yeah, and I'd have to like stand outside, and they have like a little bus, a little van that runs and picks up all the kids in Choiseul, which is that part of St. Lucia I was in.
Mm-hmm.
And if you miss it, then that's on you. You got to get to walking.
And then you get paddled for being late.
Yeah, and that's a lot of hills. It's like uphill, downhill, uphill, downhill. Yeah. So yeah, I was always out there on time, made sure. So I don't know, that structure kind of teaches you discipline, which is, those are all things I didn't have to do here to go to school.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm pretty sure all of that played a part in it. And then, on the weekends, it's yours. You hanging out. You going down to the Capitol, sneaking into clubs and bars with my cousin. And it's a good experience. We'd walk behind the house. There's like a little ravine, like a little river. And we'd walk back there. And they have like the river leads to this pond, like a waterfall, like the little pond area.
Mm-hmm.
And girls would bathe naked back there. And so me and my cousin,
and you as a 15-year-old boy,
as a 15-year-old, I'm like,
I see where this is going.
I'm going to where everybody's bathing. and we be walking back there, and there's all these fruit. Like, if I was thirsty, it was a pretty hike. It was a pretty good hike. But if I was thirsty, we'd like get a rock or a pole and knock down a coconut, crack it on a rock, drink the coconut water, eat the coconut as I'm walking. They had these little fruits to this day. I don't know what they are, but they're super good. No, they're like a type of melon that grow on a tree. And, you take it down, you break it, and they have these huge black seeds. And they're like covered in this like white gooey stuff. I was a little apprehensive at first, but then I tasted it. It's like really sweet. It's really good. And I ate it.
And you don't remember what it's called?
I don't remember what it's called, but I'll get it for you. But I ate those like crazy. But apparently, you're only supposed to eat a little bit of it because it'll mess with your stomach. They're very acidic. So you're like out in the jungle walking to the
3 or 4 of those.
After 4 or 5 of those, I'm like, screw the girls. Let's go back.
Bro, we gotta make it back to the house
immediately.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So yeah, it was just like little fun stuff, innocent stuff like that, versus, in Corpus Christi, it was like a different type of deal. It was just running around with friends, and like gangs were big back then. We were like, it wasn't any like formal gang. It was just like people wanting to be like wannabe gangs or want to be cool.
Mm-hmm.
So we like our school, we would form like, you had like class C, and like that's the C hall. Then you have B hall and A hall, 5th graders.
Mm-hmm.
And so like C hall became like the gang. So we're like C hall doing stupid stuff. We have these big old like C hall versus B hall gang fights in the hallways, and like it's so like that's Corpus Christi versus going to school in St. Lucia is just a little bit more innocent, a little bit more cool.
Well, that gives me insight into maybe what was a shift for you in life, because now fast forward 2026, you're running what I would consider a very successful contracting business. I mean, you've got double digits worth of staff that are relying on you, which is obviously a lot of responsibility. And we're going to get into this more in a second.
Yeah.
But I'm still interested in this shift because your story in general is interesting.
Yeah.
But to me, there's always a scene when the boy becomes a man.
That happens.
And so after a year in St. Lucia, you come back to Corpus Christi?
I came back to Corpus Christi. I went back to school. I fell back into the patterns before.
Okay.
Um,
But at this point, you're in high school in the U.S. now.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so so I come back. It doesn't necessarily translate. So I still got to finish out my 8th grade year. So I finish out my 8th grade year, but I barely go. And I have to go to summer school. And just to tell you how mischievous I was, my dad was like, hey, if you get A honor roll, I'll buy you a car. And then you'll be able to go to high school with a car. I was like, yo, done.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I'm also not really going to school. So, so my school had these little certificates that they like, hey, honor roll graduates, and for pictures.
Okay.
And I got my buddies, and this was before like Photoshop was as big as it was, but I downloaded like this pirated copy of Photoshop and took out the name of the person and put my name in there and handed it to my dad. He was like, man, I'm so proud of you. I knew you could do it. I'm like, yeah, did that.
Yeah.
And
Dad, this is a breeze.
Yeah.
Trust me.
Yeah.
Trust me, Dad.
So he bought me my first car, 1981 Nissan Maxima.
Nice.
And so I got to start high school with the car, which brought its own set of troubles.
Did he find out?
Because I
about
mean, as an adult, I told him.
Okay.
So he knows.
You owe him a Maxima now.
Yeah. Because, I give him a hard time. Lord knows.
So now you're back into your old ways.
Yeah. And I have a vehicle.
Yeah. And you're mobile now.
Yeah. So I would go to school. I'd go for like maybe 2 or 3 classes and I'd take off. We'd go to the mall, hang out at the mall, and just me and my friends would just do anything. But
Dad's at work thinking you're at school again.
Yeah. And I was so disruptive in school. My Spanish teacher came in and she was like, hey, if you just don't disrupt the rest of the class and you sit here in the back, I'll pass you with a C. And I was like, oh, hey, all I got to do is sit here. She's like, you can bring magazines, whatever you want, just read. Just stop interrupting.
Just don't
and
ruin it
disrupting
for everybody. Yeah.
Yeah. Go. When I tell you I was doing the most,
Mm-hmm.
In my math class, I would get up. My teacher would be at the desk, and I would just get up and go on the board and start drawing. And she's like, Kenny, sit down. I'm like, hold on. And I'll draw like some lewd picture and like laugh at my friends. And she called my mom down there, and I didn't know she called my mom because it's like, I do this all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And they got those thin windows on the classroom doors. So I was up there drawing and goofing around with my friends. And I knew something was up.
The little vertical windows
the
that
little
you can
vertical
peek through from the hall?
Exactly.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I knew something was up because the teacher wasn't saying much. Normally she's always telling me to sit down or give me a hard time. And she'll just let me do it. So I was like, yo, okay. She's learning.
Yeah, it's in my class now.
So I'm like drawing and doing stupid stuff up there and impersonating a teacher.
Mm-hmm.
And I just, out of my peripheral, I saw my mom's face in that glass window.
Oh no, dude.
And like,
she's pissed.
I didn't like turn to look. I was like, oh shit. And I just tried to play it off. And I put the chalk down and I went and sat on my desk.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, hey, so just work right here. What are we supposed to do?
Oh, so you start faking.
Yes, I start like I'm doing work. And then she opens the door and my teacher just had the biggest smile. And so I went out there.
Like, finally, I got some backup.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I went out there in the hallway. My mom was like, this is what I'm sending you to school for. I saw you doing it. And she was like carrying on. She, she's a nurse. She works 2 jobs. I mean, like double shifts. So her time is limited. So for her to take off work to come to the school because I'm acting a fool. And she brought her friend Violet, who has these really long fingernails. And her Violet was like co-signing her and pointing her fingernails in my face.
She's like 6 feet away, but they're still close to you.
And I was just like, yo. And my mom slapped the hell out of me.
Uh-huh.
And when I looked and I got slapped, I see all these heads in that window. All my friends,
All the other students.
they're like all trying to look and see what's happening outside in the hallway. And as soon as I got slapped, I just heard everybody erupt inside the classroom. And then my mom was like, yeah, if you don't get it together, like, you know, it's a wrap for you. I was like, all right. So I go back in. Everybody's like, oh, man. Oh, Kenny, your mom slapped the hell out of you. Did you see the spit fly out of his mouth when he slapped you? And then you couldn't say anything. And I was like, say something to somebody like, man, I'm going to call your mama, come over here and slap the shit out of you again. Yo.
Your
like,
reign is over.
Yeah,
at that point.
So I was like, I was humbled at that point. And so I didn't act up in math class anymore. At that point, I just kind of skipped that one. So I was going to those 2 classes. That class, I now started
I'm
skipping.
surprised.
Yeah.
Surprised she didn't send you back to St. Lucia.
So yeah, so my 9th year, I ended up just dropping out my 9th year.
Okay.
So
And you're what? 9th grade is 15?
no, I'd been held back before.
So you were a little older than most of the 9th graders?
Yeah, I'm about 16 going on 17 at that point.
And you dropped out?
Yeah.
And what'd your mom and dad think then?
They were like devastated. They're like, oh man, now you're not going to be nothing. Like, you know, back then it was, you go to school, you go to college, you get a good job.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't do that,
you've thrown it all away.
Yeah, you've thrown it all away. There's nothing else for you.
Right.
That's it. It's a wrap. And so,
which you've now proven is not the case.
That's right. There's always a way.
There is a way. Yeah,
exactly. Path less traveled.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. So I drop out. Part of the reason I dropped out is my friend Eric, who was ahead of me. I just knew him from the neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
He was graduating. He was getting ready to go to the Art Institute of Houston. And he was going to be a game designer. And I was like, ooh, I like video games. I want to be a game designer. And me and him, we would do these little projects like in his backyard. And we would get like, you know, like a broomstick, and then we'd edit it later on in After Effects or something and make it look like lightsabers and add the sound to it.
Yeah.
And we'd reenact like Star Wars scenes in the backyard and all that stuff. And like, yeah, we're going to be these great directors and, you know, all these dreams and stuff. So I was like, okay, yeah, the first step of that is going to the Art Institute. So went, and I was like, I need to get my GED. So went and got my GED, scored really high. Again, you know, I was put so far ahead just from that year in St. Lucia that almost every test I took, I could pass,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and I knew how to study for it. Like I said, I knew how to learn.
Yeah, and you're the classic example of you weren't unintelligent. You just didn't apply yourself in school. You didn't really, it sounds like you didn't want to be there.
Yeah.
Which,
sure,
I get it. I was the same exact way. I didn't want to be there.
Yeah.
And it probably looked at the time like wasted potential in people's eyes. But to me, it was wasted time.
Yeah.
There were so many other things I probably would have rather been doing specifically during high school. And there were a lot of other things I was doing other than focusing on school. But so you guys, you needed your GED to get into the Art Institute.
Yeah. But you also had to apply. Yeah, I had to create a like a portfolio and send it to them for me to get accepted. But
with your work.
Yeah, but I did it with my artwork that me and Eric would do in our like off time anyway. So I added the videos, I added like, you know, all the Photoshop stuff and just, you know, graphic design things we would do. Mm-hmm. And so I sent them that and I got accepted. So I was like, what? So my parents were like, oh, snap. You know, they weren't expecting that either.
You're not so dumb after all.
Yeah. So so they're really happy with me going there like, okay, maybe he will make something of himself.
Yeah, yeah.
So I went to the Art Institute and so it was like a wake up call, the Art Institute. So, you know, in my neighborhood, we're doing these things that none of the other kids are doing. Like nobody ever heard of Adobe After Effects where I lived or any of that kind of stuff.
So this is what, late 90s.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because at the time you're probably 18 going into the Art Institute around then?
Yeah, 17 going on 18 maybe.
98, 99?
Yeah, probably around that time frame. It's about fair, yeah.
Yeah, at that point people are still on dial-up.
Yeah.
In a lot of areas.
Netscape
right?
was still a thing.
Netscape, floppy disks.
Remember Netscape? Yeah.
I don't know if I remember Netscape.
Yeah.
I'm old enough to remember dial-up.
Yeah, Netscape
floppy
was
disks.
like, I want to say just before, it was like an alternate to like Internet Explorer. Most schools had Netscape on their computers instead of Internet Explorer.
Mm.
And then, yeah, like my compact computer.
I remember that.
Remember compact?
My mom bought a compact Presario.
Yep.
And I was like, dang.
Yeah.
We're winning.
I upgraded from a 1 gigabyte drive to a 3 gigabyte drive. And I was like, yo, I will never need space again. This is it.
So now you need like 4 terabytes. Yeah.
So yeah, none of the other people in my neighborhood were doing anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, they always blow up your head. They're like, oh my gosh, this is so good. This is great. You are talented.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, they're giving you all this praise. Then I get to the Institute of Houston and I'm with all these people who do this. And so the first project we did, we're doing a movie trailer.
Uh-huh.
So they have an area where you could rent the film equipment. You go out there, you do the film. They have a lab where you could edit the film and do everything you're supposed to do. So we did this movie trailer thing, and, you know, I was like, yo, they're going to mess around and give us a job because this looks professional. Like,
right,
we're on it. And then during the class, they show everybody's movie trailers. I didn't even want to show my movie trailer after seeing everybody else's movie trailer.
They were that good?
They were that good. I was like, yo, we're not the top dogs here.
You're like, dang, I wish I would have just watched mine.
Yeah. So all that praise that I got, yeah, it was like humbling to see what everybody else was. Then like the confidence level goes down a little bit. It's like, oh shit, well, yeah, I do got to learn some stuff here. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, that was an experience. I did a year at the Art Institute. I didn't finish the whole program. It's a 2-year program for your associates. I did 1 year. I fell back into the routine of I would go to the classes I wanted to go to. I would go to all the media classes. So like graphic and art design, you know, I would do the video production class and those kind of classes. But the literature class, English, math, like the basic courses, mm-hmm. I didn't go or turn in work for those classes. So then,
right.
Yeah, so I was failing those. So then I finished the first year and then I dropped out.
And then is that immediately when you joined the Army?
No, not yet.
Couple years out. In between?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, a few years in between.
And
I joined the Army at 25.
Okay, I was 23 when I enlisted in the Air Force. Yeah, so we were a little bit older than the majority of people that were in you know, boot camp or basic training with us. So those in between years, is that when you met your wife?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about how you met.
This is actually right after this is where I met my wife. So I go back to, instead of going back to Corpus Christi, my mom, she was a contract nurse, so she would travel. And she was stationed in Baytown, Texas. And she had an apartment there. The agency pays for the apartment for, you know, let's say it's a year. Her contract might be 6 months, 3 months, whatever. So her contract is up and she was going to another contract in Baltimore. Excuse me. And she let me stay in that apartment. She's like, well, you can stay in the apartment and get a job and figure it out. But at the end of that year.
But her name was still on the lease even though she went to Baltimore?
Yeah, because the contract agency is who books the apartment for her. So it's already leased out for a year.
Interesting.
Even though her contract didn't last the whole year, they transferred her to Baltimore. The apartment was still there.
Did you have to pay rent there?
No.
What?
So I got to stay in the apartment rent free.
For how many months?
For about like 6 months. So,
that's clutch.
Yeah. So I had 6 months to get myself together, get a job.
Yeah, man. You bought some time there. Wow.
Figure it out. Yeah. So for sure. So I got a job. I found a job at Target. I did loss prevention. Mm-hmm. That was an adventure. And then I got a second job at Radio Shack. And at Radio Shack's where I met my wife. So she came in one day paying her phone bill. And she was like, oh. She's like, what are you? And I was like, what do you mean? She's like, where are you from? Like, are you like Hispanic? Are you black? I don't know what you are. And I was like, was like, I'm black. My parents from the Caribbean, you know.
Yeah.
You start explaining. She's like, okay. She's like, are you from Baytown? Baytown's like a Corpus Christi. Like you kind of know everybody situation. And so she's like, well, you're not from here, are you? I was like, nah. You know, we started talking and she was like, well, I was like, okay, ma'am, your phone's turned on. So it's activated. Here you go. She's like, I don't believe you. Call the number so I know it works.
Oh.
Yeah. So
okay. Yeah, don't mind if I do.
Yeah, exactly. So I called the number and she's like, yeah, it works. You could save this number in your phone and
dang.
And you could call me and take me out sometime. I was like, oh shit. I was like, all right, bet. Say less. So yeah, called her up the next day. I was like, hey, you want to meet up? I was like, yeah. So we met up at Target. Now, my wife made significantly more money than me. She was working at the plants. I didn't know anybody her age that was making the amount of money she was making. So at the plants in Baytown, it's like a plant city. So if you get a gig at the plant, like the lowest thing you could probably do is fire watch. They're making like $2,000 a week or something like that. Something crazy. And so she was doing fire watch, but they work 3 months on, 3 months off. So at the end of that 3 months, they have a lot of money saved up because they're doing 12-hour shifts, like no time off.
7 days a week.
Yeah, 7 days a week.
They go on a 90-day
for
run
3 months.
And then they're off.
Yeah, exactly.
It'd be tough, but
yeah,
it's also nice.
It's a lot of money.
To have 3 months of no work.
Yeah, 2 G's a week. And then 3 months of no work. A lot of people take that money. That's when they come with the new cars, big vacations, and they go broke enough just so when the plant turns over again, they're back on to save up again.
Right.
So that's like the life cycle for a plant worker out there. So my wife's working at the plant making that money.
Hoard 3 months of money. Blow it until the 89th day off and then
exactly
eat ramen the day before you go back to work. Yeah.
And so, you know, my wife, that's the scale she was making money on. Meanwhile, I'm working 2 jobs. And so she's like, hey, she called me. She's like, hey, I'm over here at Target shopping. You want to come meet me? And I was like, yeah, sure. So hopped in the car, went over there. And so I'm trying to be the gentleman. She's buying like candles. Now, my mom's Catholic. I grew up in a Catholic family. Catholic candles are like $1 a piece. The little Jesus, Mary candles.
Yep.
So I'm thinking that's how much candles are. So when we get to the register, she has all these candles in her basket. I'm like, don't worry, I got you. She's like, oh yeah? Well, yeah.
Like the $27 luxury, the Bed Bath & Beyond
like over
grade
$200 in candles. I was like,
my gosh.
Yo. But I can't renege now with this girl that I like. So I spent $200 I don't have. I was like the overdraft king, by the way. Like it was an art. Like I would overdraft just so that when I got paid, my account would be back at 0. I was good.
Yeah.
So I definitely overdrafted that day. And then I was like,
so like negative 1,500 was your 0.
Yeah. Like if I get back to breaking even, I'm cool. Then I go to negative again and back to 0.
Oh gosh.
Like,
okay.
Yeah. So lived like that for a while in Baytown. But my wife really inspired me because she had nice things. But you know, she was working at the plant. So like,
why didn't you just go work there?
I mean, I tried. It's not easy. So the way they hire at the plant is they'll do a hiring spree and they'll like, okay, we're going to hire the first 200 people. And so
they're lined up like Jordans are dropping.
And then so I was like, okay, we're going to go. Me and some buddies went. And there were people out there camped out from the day previously. Like the line was already
waiting
long.
On that.
So when I got there, I counted. I was like, okay. I was like, you know what? I think we'll make it. I think we're within the 200. And we waited outside for like 8-9 hours. And about halfway through, they're like, okay, we're done. I was like, oh. Like,
that sucks.
I was like, yeah, I don't like that experience at all.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the plant life wasn't for me. So, and, you know, people would just continuously do that. Now, once you get in there, you'll know people and they'll just hire you back. Like, hey, next pickup, call me, we'll come back. So you don't have to do the wait in line thing. But, when you're first getting on, that's kind of the process. Unless you're some kind of engineer or instruments or like one of the technical fields. But if it's just for like just general fire watch labor type stuff, they just hired like the first 200 people as long as you qualify.
Dang.
So
yeah, because it's not high skill.
Yeah, exactly.
Labor.
Yeah, you're just watching the welders weld. That's it.
For $2,000 a
Watching
week.
for sparks. Yeah,
it's not bad.
Yeah,
it's what?
Exactly.
96 a year.
Yeah,
if I'm doing the math, or I don't know, but
yeah. And my wife is like, what at this time? Barely 21 making that.
Hey, when you're at a negative 1,500 of that checking,
and I'm overdrafting all the
$2K
time.
a month is life changing.
Yeah, I'm in this like little rinky-dink apartment.
But $2K a week, yeah.
Yeah, and I go to her house, and she has a townhouse, and like, so yeah, she was just living a different lifestyle than me. She was throwing like big parties and all this stuff. So that I think that was the first instance where I kind of wanted more. You know what I mean? And so maybe that's the switch you're talking about. So I think at that point I was like, oh man, you know what? I want nice things too. I want to be able to have a place. And like before, I thought just me affording an apartment was, I was like, hey, I'm taking care of myself.
Right. I'm all good.
Yeah. I'm good. I'm straight.
I'm getting by, not drastically far ahead, but keeping the lights on.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, and she had aspirations. She had all these things she wanted to do. Obviously, if I want to be with her, I should want to do things too. So yeah, that was kind of like the somewhat of the turning point.
That's interesting to hear, because the you I know is a go-getter, highly motivated guy, but it hasn't always been that way, it sounds like.
Yeah.
So then fast forward, you joined the Army.
Yep.
At 25. If I'm not mistaken, you spent 4
years. Did my 4 years.
4 years in the Army. And did you spent multiple years in the Middle East?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Some active duty, some as a contractor after your enlistment, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So joined the Army, went to the 204th MI Battalion, became an intelligence analyst. Our unit was based in Fort Bliss, El Paso. So that was a big thing too, because my wife had never left Baytown before. And so me moving
Southeast Texas is a lot different than Southwest Texas.
Yeah. So me moving to El Paso, that was a huge thing. She like cried the entire car ride, like the whole way. But eventually she settled in. She made friends in El Paso, some lifelong friends. She's still like her best friend. They still talk and everything. Yeah. But yeah, different lifestyle.
Military life tends to do that too.
Yeah.
You meet some ride or die friends.
Yeah, exactly.
Some of the people that like are my best friends, when I first met them, I didn't think we had anything in common other than the military.
Yeah.
And they evolved into being some of the most loyal, loving, caring friends that you can have, that pick up the phone when you need them the most.
Absolutely.
And that's important, because as you grow and you age and you're building a life, you're building a business and a family, you're not going to be on the phone with the boys 7 days a week for 3 hours at a time. You got stuff going on.
Yeah. But you got those people you could count on. Yeah.
And so 4 years in the Army.
Yep.
As a signal intelligence analyst?
Yes, I was a signal intelligence analyst. I ended up cross training. I had a sergeant that really did not like me. My wife cursed him out one day, and he had it in for me. So one of the other NCOs recognized that, and he's like, hey, why don't you come over here to Delta Company, which is the imagery company. And so I crossed over and cross trained in the imagery. And they asked for volunteers at the time. They're standing up a task force in Iraq to like go after high value targets. And so I volunteered to go to Iraq, and then I did my job in Iraq. And that's where I met some of the guys from Raytheon. That's where I met some of the contractors. And it's kind of where my first idea of contracting came out. So, and that was towards the tail end of my Army career. So then when I came back, they thought I was going to re-enlist, but then I was like, nope, I'm going to take this contract. So Clovis, New Mexico.
New Mexico.
Yeah, I got to choose. They gave me the option. I could apply for Cannon or Creech. And everybody's like, why didn't you choose Creech? And Creech, you have to take a bus to work. You have to drive, park in a parking lot, and then take a bus to the base.
Why?
Just security.
I've never been to Creech.
Oh, okay. So in Creech, you know, or AKA Area 51, whatever you want to call it,
Mm-hmm.
you can't drive your car on the post.
Oh, so Creech is Area 51?
Yeah.
Wow.
So you can't.
You learn something new every day.
Yeah,
6 years in the Air Force, and I never connected those dots.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you can't drive your car on base. You have to park, and then they have a bus that takes everybody to the post.
Interesting.
I didn't want to.
Can you have phones on base?
I don't know. I never went on.
Yeah.
But probably unless you're in a secure, just like any skiff or secure location, probably not.
Right.
But so I was like, yeah, the idea of taking a bus on the post and driving there, like, what if I'm late? What if the bus isn't running? Like, you know, I was like, nah, I'll do Cannon. Little did I know. But yeah, not much in Clovis.
You made your bed.
Yeah,
You got to lay in it now.
I
Well,
did.
You know,
But you know what?
my time in Clovis, New Mexico was, it was a journey. It was an experience, to
Yes.
say the least. But
Yeah.
nonetheless, it was needed for me to be out in an area that wasn't exciting, wasn't filled with nightlife.
Yeah.
And it kind of was a time and an era of my life where I feel like I became who I am now.
Mhm.
Obviously, since then, I've evolved so much more.
Yeah.
And I struggled a lot while I was living in Clovis, but it was a pivotal time in my life, looking back on it.
Yeah.
And I lived there for almost 3 years.
Okay. About the same amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's about how long I spent there.
Yep.
Clovis was, yeah, there's not much to do, but it like forced you to do things and get creative, to do things with your family. Like I had a lot of time at the house hanging out with friends and family.
Yeah.
And like barbecues and things like that. That was like priceless moments.
You got to be resourceful. in
Versus,
Clovis.
yeah. So it wasn't like, you know, here it's like, hey, let's go here and hang out. Let's go see this show. Let's go to this restaurant. Let's go to this club. Like, there wasn't any of that in Clovis. It was just like, hey, y'all coming over today? Yeah, let's do this.
Right.
And like for my house in Clovis, behind it was just like this empty field.
Mm-hmm.
And it was, I got into so many adventures in Clovis.
That's where I actually started reading more.
Really?
Yeah, because
makes
it was
sense.
like Saturday morning or Sunday morning.
Yeah. What
I'm
else
like,
are you going to do?
I'm going to get up. I'm going to go to a coffee shop and I'll spend, $5 or $6, get a cup of coffee, get out of the house a little bit.
Yeah.
I'll just bring this book with me. I'm going to read.
See?
And I've never been a person that I thought was really
Gonna sit
interested
down
in
and read.
reading, but I really enjoy reading now. And so I'm glad that, there's something good that came out of the experience there.
Clovis will do that to you.
Clovis will do that to you. It'll run its course, good or bad, on you.
Yeah. So I got.
Well, I was going to say, so after Clovis, is that when you went away from the contracting, away from the military related work?
No, I went right. So the contract in Clovis ended.
Mm-hmm.
That choose between having mission support analysts, myself, or new equipment for the GCUs, the ground control units for the Predator Reapers.
Okay.
They chose new equipment for the GCUs. So our contract ended. So then I went with Raytheon. And me and my buddy James, we deployed to Afghanistan. And, that was part of the PSDS2 program with Raytheon, trained up. Went to Afghanistan, did our jobs there. That lasted roughly probably about 3 years again. James came back a little bit early. He was going through a custody battle with his daughter. His dad, so all through this time from the Army, me and James have been together. Like from the 204th, he went with me to Clovis. We were in Clovis working the same contract. When I get the contract at Raytheon, I brought him on, so he was on the contract with me at Raytheon.
So you've known James for what, 20 years?
Yeah. Yeah. So I've known James for a while. We're like, we're brothers, basically. So he came back a little bit early, and obviously through that time, our families got close. His dad owns a company called C&G Electric, which is like one of the biggest electrical contractors in Denton.
In Denton.
Yeah, in Denton. And so he was on the phone with me trying to convince me to come back and get involved with his dad's company. And at first I was like, man, I'm contracting, I'm making Raytheon money, and why would I do that?
Mm-hmm.
Then I started thinking about it. I was like, hey, everything comes to an end.
Sure.
This Raytheon's not going to be here forever in Afghanistan. So, maybe it is time for me to start thinking about what's next. So I put thought into it. And I was like, yeah, you know what? I am away from my family a lot, so it would be good to be there. I've already missed 3 years of, oh, guess what happened with the kids today? Or guess, those moments. And so I didn't renew my contract after that, and I came back home. So his company's in Denton, which is why I came back home here to Dallas. And I didn't necessarily want to live in Denton. I want to live on the outskirts because I guess after Clovis, I appreciated the country living lifestyle. So at the time, Little Elm, there was nothing there.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, okay, yeah.
Not the case now.
Yeah, I was like, this is by the lake. There's some cows over here in a farm. I was like, okay, cool. So we'll build here. So moved to Little Elm, and we started with Brad's company. So none of my background has construction or low voltage in it. So I'm entering into this industry for the first time.
Uncharted territory.
Yeah, but just like I learned in St. Lucia, I know how to learn. So
wow,
I was able to.
All goes back to St. Lucia.
Yeah. So I was able to pick up really easily. So we started off, pulling some fire alarm wire for a building here or there. I was one of his guys' helpers. So I'll just fetch the ladder, fetch the wire, and they would kind of teach me as I go. And then I went to Robson Ranch, which is a housing community out here for elderly living, active adult living community. And we'd go in and we'd wire up the houses. So that's all we did. And every day, wake up in the morning, drive to Robeson, look at the list of houses and what they needed, look at the plans, run the wire, go home.
And this was for new construction at the time?
Yeah, for Robeson Ranch. So, and that's what we do day in, day out. And then Robeson Ranch, the production of the houses was faster than me and James could get to. So, Brad's like, hey, you guys are here at C&G Integrations. That's the low voltage part of C&G Electric. They're like, you guys are supposed to be running this. So, you need to hire help. You have to get some help. So I was like, oh, we could do that? Okay. At first we were just like, oh, we're working for James's dad.
Right. Now, but now you've essentially taken over the division of the low voltage portion of the electrical work for C&G.
Exactly.
Okay.
So yeah, and we didn't even know it was almost like he empowered us. So it was like, hey, y'all supposed to be running this right now. Y'all are just acting like workers.
Right. Build this.
Yeah.
Build it. Yeah.
So I was like, oh, okay.
And that's cool.
Yeah.
That's
so
cool.
the mindset changed. So now we hired some folks, and that gave us more time to go out there and meet other people. So I ended up going to the design center, and James started doing the designs first, and then he got busy on the commercial side, and then I went in. I started meeting with all the homeowners, and we would help design their homes, and then go in and wire it up. And then, man, that was actually my favorite part because you meet so many different people coming to Robeson.
Right.
Man, and you just learn all about them and stuff like that. So that was really cool. So started doing that, upselling them on that kind of stuff, started meeting people, and then meeting people through Brad. I'd make different contacts there, like at the school districts. And so then we started doing Denton ISD schools. And then just doing the schools, meeting other people from the school district. And, they'll eventually you start talking, they take a liking to you, and, you have.
And they call you back for something else.
Yeah, and they call you back for something else. And We were those guys that you could call whenever, you know. We weren't like low voltage geniuses or anything, but we were always willing to figure out a way.
Right.
So, you know, they would come to you with their problems, and it's like, hey, man, they already did this and we need to get this installed. And I was like, man, I bet we could, I'm sure there's a way to do it. And I might consult with somebody who's a professional in that field. I'm like, hey, man, you ever come across this? And they'll tell you like, oh, you know what? Yeah, you can. There's these options, and do my research. But we're always willing to put in the work. And a lot of times, you know, we spend a lot of time in the warehouse doing experiments, trying to figure out if something could work a particular way, and then testing it and we're like, oh, okay, yeah, let's do it. Let's put this in there.
Little research and development.
Yeah, exactly. And so you do it. And then eventually, you know, school district's like, well, I'm calling you for this stuff anyway. Why don't y'all take it over? It's like, yeah, sure. And then, you know,
nice.
Take it over. And then
so you're building a reputation.
Yeah. And then you
building trust.
Yeah. And so a lot of almost my business is almost me putting other people in position. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of the people I work with had companies of their own, and they were independent people. But then I'm meeting all these other people in the commercial areas. I was like, hey, why don't you come on board? And, you know, we can add this service to our business, and you could we could do some commercial stuff. And they're like, oh yeah. And
then you add a new
thing of what we do. Yeah.
Right. Man.
So I actually got a little bit ahead of myself. That's CGI Systems. So CNG Integrations, we weren't doing any of that. Sorry, we're still on CNG Integrations.
Yeah.
So apologies.
No, you're good. You're good.
Yeah. So long story short, Brad is retiring. He's been doing this for a long time. Me and James have been running CNG Integrations. He sells CNG electric, and he's like, y'all want to continue doing this, you're going to need to start your own company, because I can't transfer CNG Integrations to you because it was part of CNG Electric, and I just sold CNG Electric.
So now that entity is no longer owned by him.
Correct.
Anyways. Okay.
Yeah. So I started CNG.
But the relationships are there.
Yeah. Yeah. And I didn't want to lose the name recognition. And so I can't name it CNG Integrations. And I wanted, a lot of times when we're calling customers, CNG Integrations is a mouthful. So people just call it CGI. So I was like, okay, we'll name it CGI. I was like, we could do CGI. But I always had the idea of us doing a lot more than what we did, a lot more than low voltage. I was like, we do integrations. We're supposed to be integrating different types of technology. We should probably do more than just, you know, what we're doing. So the idea was going to be CGI Systems Group, and we're going to have all these things under our umbrella that we did, and it's going to be a one-stop shop for everything. So we named it CGI Systems Group. So shortly after forming CGI Systems, my partner James, he was ready to go off and do something else. He was done with construction. I mean, you know, his dad owned CNG Electric. He grew up in it. So this is something that he grew up in from a child. And then by this time, he's just like burnt out on construction.
Right.
So he went off to do something else. And, you know, he offered, and I was like, yeah, I'll just buy you out. And so I bought him out, and I became sole owner. I was a little worried at first because I always had a partner. And with a partner, it's not 100% on you.
Yeah, you got somebody to call on. You got somebody to vent to.
So when you're feeling
to brainstorm
down,
with,
exactly. Yeah. When you're down, you know this guy got you. When he's down, you know you're there to step up, and y'all are bouncing ideas off each other. It's not so lonely at the top.
Right.
So I was nervous when I bought him out.
I could imagine.
So I wasn't even sure I would be able to keep everything running. But
well, that hasn't been the case.
Yeah.
Because
so
here now, early 2026, you guys are doing well.
Yeah.
And it's looking like the business is going to continue growing.
Absolutely. So yeah, that was a renewed confidence that I had. Once it became just me, I was like, oh, I can't do this. And so it has its pluses. I don't have to, before I'd have an idea and maybe he was against that idea and it'll be almost a debate. I almost have to justify what I want to do with my partner to get him on board to move forward with it.
Right.
Now the process is much faster. I don't have to,
Sure.
I don't have to consult him and get him on board with
There's
it.
less layers of approval for decision making. Yeah.
Exactly.
Now
I just got to bounce it off my wife. She
right.
approves.
Yeah. So, and I know we don't have a whole lot of time left today. This has been a great conversation and we may have to turn this into an ongoing conversation where we sit down again. But, before we sort of close out part one of this conversation, I want to ask a question. Well, kind of a double question. What is the hardest part of being an entrepreneur? And if you could give someone advice who's thinking about taking that leap of faith and going into business for themselves, knowing what you know now, what advice would you give them?
All right. So first question, hardest part is there's nothing to fault. There's no safety net. With a regular job, I go to work, I come home, or there's something there. I'm getting paid. I know I'm getting paid every week, 2 weeks, whatever your pay schedule is. As an entrepreneur, you might not get paid and there's nothing there. And especially if you're an entrepreneur with employees, and you being responsible to pay those people, it's something that keeps you up at night for sure. Like where that check is coming in, when's that check coming in? Is that check coming in? Because if it doesn't, what am I going to do? Because I have to do $12,000 of payroll or whatever have you to these people. And if the money's not there, what am I going to do? I can't just not pay them.
Right.
So there's been plenty of times where I had to not pay myself to make sure everybody got paid when things were tight. It's not for the lighthearted. There's definitely like a upside to it, but yeah, the lack of there's no safety net. It's all on you. It's what you make of it. So yeah, that would be the hardest part right there. Yeah, is making sure the money's coming in.
Right.
And it's a constant hustle, and you can't because you got to oh, this project's done. I can't just be like, oh, that project's done. Now I got to go look for. I have to continuously stack up, continuously outreach, continuously have projects because the money has to keep flowing. And so it's just there's no break, there's no stop. You have to continue. Like when I'm feeling down, like that was the positive side of having a partner, because if I'm not feeling up to it, if I'm like, oh man, I'm just depressed today, he's still going. But when it's just you, if you're depressed, like, okay, like, what am I going to do? Like, shut the company now because I'm not feeling good today? Like, so I got to still continuously
people relying on
go out there. Yeah. And these people have families and they depend on you. So, yeah, we'll keep you up at night. So,
Could imagine.
Yeah. Make sure you got your stuff together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for sharing that and the advice that you would give somebody ready to take that leap of faith. Or thinking about it, at least.
Ready to think about it? I would say have your personal stuff together, because the last thing you want to do is worry about the business needs and your personal needs. That'll be a lot. I would say make sure you want to be an entrepreneur and you're not doing it just because of the idea of being an entrepreneur, but it's going to be a lot of long nights, and it's what you put into it. But it's high risk, high reward. The reward is up there. Like right now, I can't imagine working for somebody else. Even my buddy James, when he left the company, he went to go work for somebody else. He's like, yeah, this is tough. It's like,
Yeah, I bet.
yeah, it's a whole lifestyle change. Yeah, I wouldn't trade it for anything, but yeah, it's good. Have your stuff together before you launch. Have a plan. You know, I think most people who are going to be entrepreneurs, they have the idea and they're dreamers. But you know, you have to be a dreamer to be an entrepreneur. But there's just that action that they don't take behind the dream. So if you just take that action and actually put it into effect, I think you can make it happen. Just have to, you actually do it.
Right.
Yeah, not just think about it.
Yeah.
And hope somebody else is going to come in and do it for you or do X, Y, Z. You just got to plan the action and make it happen.
Well, it's simple advice, and I hope that it's helpful to somebody who's going to take that advice and not just listen to it, but apply it into the big decision they're about to make. And they can look back on this conversation and see it as inspiration. But I do think we need to continue the conversation for a part 2. I mean, you've got a lot of stories, so maybe a part 3 after that.
Yeah, anytime, man. I'm game.
I want to let you know that I appreciate you taking the time to sit down with me today to, share quite a bit of your story and for just being here and making it an enjoyable conversation.
Yeah. Thank you for having me, man.
Yeah.
I didn't even get to my Kuwait or Dubai adventures.
I know.
I
know, that's what I'm saying. There's a lot more that we got to dive into, but we'll look forward to it, man. Thanks again for your time, and I appreciate you sitting down with me.
All right. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yep.